Hello everyone, this is Mr. E2099, and I wish a happy new year to all of you. Today I'm talking about my top 5 and top worst of DC Comics for the year 2017. First off, we have Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps. Now, this has been a great book, and it's had some really great storylines with them trying to team up with the Sinestro Corps, them having to save the New Gods, and it's been a really great book, really great story, and really great art from one of our favorite artists, Ethan Van Sciver. You know, his art is always good. I know his name isn't on the current title, but he is the current artist on the book, and his art is always amazing. You should definitely check out his Dark Knight's Metal tie-in for the Bat Set of Hell, because that's one of my favorite issues of this book so far. The way he draws the confrontation between Hal Jordan and the Dawnbreaker Batman was really well drawn, especially with the strobe effect that they did. It's a great book. Check it out. Next, we have Batman. Now, I'm not that big of a Batman fan, but this year it really did step it up a notch. We had the War of Jokes and Riddles, as well as Batman getting engaged to Catwoman, and how the Batman family reacted to that. It was interesting that Dick had to explain to Damian that he is a selfless person. Everything he has, his time, his money, his very life, he gives to other people. And asking to be happy is asking for something that you want for yourself. And Batman doesn't really know how to do that. So, yeah, that was really interesting, and I'm really enjoying this book. I can't wait to see how other people react to the Batman and Catwoman marriage. So, that's cool. Next we have Action Comics. Now, Action Comics has really been going well, especially everything that's happened with Mr. Oz. The fact that it turned out to be Superman's father, Jor-El, after the time stream was manipulated by Dr. Manhattan, and how he saw the worst in humanity and was concerned about the world that he sent his son to. And he even challenges Superman by saying, "You've been here, you've been saving people, has it really made a difference?" And, you know, even though we see Superman defeat Oz, we see him using his super hearing and listening to all the crime and war and hurt that's going on. And he looks up and he starts flying away. And Lois asks him, "Where is he going?" And he just says, "Back to work." And he has this somber kind of look on his face. He knows that it's never going to end. No matter how much he does, it's not going to end. It's always going to be more. And that his dad might have been right in some respects. And we also have the fact that this shook Superman so much so that he actually used the Flash's cosmic treadmill to go back in time to try and witness the destruction of Krypton to see if he really did escape the destruction and that Oz is really his father. So, you know, when you have Superman so rattled that he travels back in time, you know it's an interesting book. We have Aquaman at the number 2 spot. Now, some people may wonder about me putting Aquaman above Superman and Batman, but I really like what's going on with the current Aquaman book. I made a video where I recommended it, and it's really good. It's written by Dan Abnett, who did a great job with Cosmic Marvel back when he was running things like Nova and Guardians of the Galaxy, and he's bringing that talent to Aquaman. And ever since he's been dethroned, it's been a really dynamic book. He's serving as the sort of hidden protector of the lower reaches of Atlantis, while people are suffering under the tyrannical king that replaced him, and how they have to try and overthrow him. But Aquaman admits that he made a lot of mistakes as king, and that even if they do overthrow the current regime, he doesn't want to take his throne back. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see how they resolve that. My number one all-time favorite book for 2017 is Super Sons. I have not read a single bad issue of this book because no bad issues exist. Super Sons is great, lighthearted fun, and in a world that's sometimes way too serious, it's exactly what we need to take the edge off. And just, the stories are great. These are kids that behave like kids, Batman and Robin. They fight, they argue, but deep down they are best friends, even though they themselves will not admit that. And the way they behave is like how kids would behave. I remember behaving like they did when I was young, instead of, like characters like Ruby Williams or Moon Girl. We get kids that act like actual kids would in the real world. So I'm really happy about this book. Peter J. Tomasi is killing it, and I hope he continues to do well, because right now he's pitching a no-hitter. Alright, now for my bottom 5, my worst 2017 for DC. First up is Cyborg. Cyborg is a hit or miss book. There are times where it's good and I enjoy it, and there are times where I wonder what's going on with it. And, for me personally, it's been more miss than hit. Like, they have this whole arc with this, digital universe that, in my opinion, lasted far longer than it should have. The last issue was really good with, Cyborg, going to Africa and finding this wish-granting horn and actually becoming human again. But he realizes that, okay, I'm human, but I have no power, I can't help anyone. Maybe this was kind of a mistake. So, yeah, that's interesting. I hope they keep it up, because good books are always a good thing. But for now, it's earned its spot in the bottom 5. Next up, we have Justice League of America. I just could not get into this book. Like, I know some people like it, but for me, it's not good. The team, you have characters like Lobo and Killer Frost on a Justice League team. That makes no sense, like, at all. I don't see either of them really cooperating with Batman. I don't see either of them really wanting to take orders from somebody else. And I read a couple of issues, and this book could not hold me. It just could not hold me at all. I gave it a chance, and I didn't find it compelling enough to continue reading. Next we have Supergirl, and I gotta say, I don't like Supergirl. Like, I like the character of Supergirl. I thought she was really interesting when she's with the New 52. I enjoyed. I know a lot of people don't like the New 52, but for me, parts of it were good. And the Supergirl part of the New 52 was good. I enjoyed that. I don't enjoy this. When they relaunched the title, they said that they're bringing her to the city that she's in the TV show, and they gave her essentially the same costume that she has in the TV show. I hate when comics are too much like their TV show counterparts, because the TV show needs to be pulled from the comics, not the other way around. The comics are what made the characters unique and iconic. And if you make them too much like the TV show that's trying to reach a much broader audience, I feel like you lose some of that. Also, I didn't enjoy the art of this book. Next we have Batgirl. Now, I am so sad what they did with Barbara Gordon, because I felt she was interesting and cool and dynamic when she was Oracle. But when they brought her back as Batgirl, I didn't like it. And that's not just because my favorite Batgirl is Stephanie Brown, and I was upset when they took Stephanie Brown away as Batgirl. But, I thought they did a disservice to Barbara Gordon by making her Oracle. And they did an even further disservice by turning her into this. Looks like they de-aged her. Like, she should be around the same age as Dick Grayson, but here she seems like she's 19. They gave her this really horrible costume. Like, I've heard in the industry they're trying to gear costumes more to appeal to cosplayers, but I don't think cosplayers really read comics. They mainly just look at the art and then build a costume off of that. I don't think this is really going to pull in cosplayers. And they lost people like me as readers who thought that, Protective a batsuit should look like something that's actually going to protect you instead of just a jacket and boots, which is essentially what this is. And, you know, some of the writing is really cringy. Like, in the last issue, like, Harley Quinn was robbing a store, and Batgirl stopped her by throwing a heel at the back of Harley Quinn's head. You know, in my opinion, this just is not a good book, and it needs to go through a major overhaul if it wants me to get back on board with it. And my worst book of DC for the year 2017 is Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn is becoming the new Deadpool, and I am not saying that in a good way. She is oversaturated. She's on way too many things. She appears in way too many books. You know, we see her everywhere. And, yeah, I enjoy the character, but when you get too much of it, it starts losing its appeal. And I think that they're trying to gear Harley Quinn towards a more mainstream audience, which I also think loses some of the uniqueness of the character. Like, the way they're drawing her right now is really to make her look more like she appeared in the Suicide Squad's movie. And I honestly preferred her when she was back, when she had black hair, when she appeared in Suicide Squad's in New 52. But that's just my opinion. Again, like, there's this really cringy storyline where she was running for mayor of New York. Like, that makes any freaking sense? And there seems to not really be any continuity. How can she be free and running about and running for public office while she's also under the thumb of Amanda Waller in Suicide Squads? This book, I can't find anything appealing about it. And it's not something that I can recommend to anyone. It's actually something that I would recommend you avoid. And, you know, it's upsetting to say this because I always want comics to be good because that gives us more variety and it helps companies in the industry. But I'm sorry, this, in my opinion, is flat out not a good book. Okay, everybody. This has been Mr. E 2099. This has been my top, best, and worst for DC Comics. Yeah, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Have a happy new year, and I will see you all later.